All right, let's dive into a really big shift happening at the top of India's legal world. There's a new Chief Justice, and trust me, this is way more than just a new name on the door. This is a change that's going to shape the very course of justice for over 1 billion people.
So, the big news is this. A new Chief Justice has officially been sworn in. They're stepping into one of the most powerful and, frankly, one of the most important jobs, not just in India, but in any democracy on the planet.
So, who is this new leader? Well, meet Justice Surya Kant, who is now the 53rd Chief Justice of India. His story is pretty fascinating. You could say he's worked his way up through every single level of the Indian legal system, from the ground floor right to the very top. And this journey is super important because it tells you a lot. He started at the state level in Haryana, then moved from Advocate General to the High Court, and then finally to the Supreme Court. That kind of experience gives you this incredible firsthand feel for the challenges the judiciary faces at every single level. This brings us to the big question, right? What does the Chief Justice of India actually do? You might think it's just about being the most senior judge, but it's so much more than that. The role is this powerful mix of judicial, administrative, and even constitutional power. Okay, so sure, the CJI presides over the Supreme Court. That's a given. But here's where the real power kicks in. They get to allocate cases and decide which judges sit on which benches. That means they basically get to set the court's priorities. They also run the collegium, and we'll get to what that is in just a second. Plus, they manage the entire court administration. They're the head of the whole Indian judiciary. And get this, here's a really surprising, kind of a mind-blown fact for you. If, in some very rare circumstance, both the president and the vice president's offices are empty, guess who steps in to act as president? Yep, the Chief Justice of India. So, I mentioned the collegium, and we've got to talk about this because it's a huge deal. This is the group, led by the Chief Justice, that decides who gets to be a judge in the Supreme Court and the High Courts. Think about that. Their choices shape what the judiciary looks like for years, even decades. It's a massive source of power and, as you can imagine, a pretty hot topic of debate in India. So when you put all that together, you start to see the picture, right? The Chief Justice doesn't just interpret the law. They're actively shaping the direction of the entire legal system by deciding which cases get heard, who hears them, and who even gets to be a judge to begin with. Let's break this down into what you could call the 4 pillars of the CJI's influence. First, there's that power over forming benches, which sets the agenda. Second, the collegium, which shapes the future of the courts. Third, as the leader, they set the ethical tone for the whole institution. And finally, they're the constitutional sentinel, the ultimate guardian in fights over our fundamental rights. Okay, but all this power comes with a major catch. Every new Chief Justice walks into a very specific set of problems. And for Justice Surya Kant, his time in office is really defined by one huge constraint. He's in a race against the clock. He's only expected to be in the job until February 2027. That gives him just about 14 to 15 months. Now, that is a very short runway to try and tackle some of the biggest, most deep-seated issues facing India's judiciary today. So what you're looking at here is the main showdown of his term. On one side, you have his big goals, slash that huge backlog of cases, and focus on really important constitution benches. But on the other side, you've got these massive obstacles, the sheer number of pending cases, tricky federal disputes, and just trying to keep the justice system up to speed with technology. So when you really think about it, the job of Chief Justice of India is so much more than just being a judge. This person is the face of an entire branch of government. They are a core pillar of the whole democratic system, the final protector of the Constitution and the rights of every single citizen. That phrase right there, the chief custodian of the Constitution, just let that sink in for a moment. It really captures the incredible weight of this job, to protect the country's foundational laws and to make sure justice is independent and fair for everyone. So, as Justice Surya Kant gets started on this short but absolutely critical term, the big question hanging in the air is this. How much can one person really do? Can he actually make a dent in these huge challenges? The answers are going to have a massive impact on the future of justice for everyone in India.